Here's why I'm nervous as a Miami Hurricanes fan, though, because when this bracket came out, my very first emotion, CCAT, was like optimism. It was joy. It was hope. It was like, wow, I'm anticipating a unprecedented and immaculate into the college football season where we're going to be all lined up watching these primetime winner-go-home games in college football like we've never seen before. And then I looked at the bracket that Miami is projected to be in right now. And I'm like, man, there's always something. The other shoe always drops when it comes to the Miami Hurricanes since 2002. And with the 3 seed right now, here's Miami's route to a college football title. Here is, because it's a 12-team, and again, CCAT, this is why I wish it was still a 14 playoff. I wouldn't have these same concerns if it was just 4.
But also, this is a TV show. This doesn't matter right now. There's a lot of football to be played between now and the final ranking.
The 12-team playoff hurts the Miami Hurricanes. The 12-team playoff in this season is to the detriment of Miami's possibility of winning a national title. And that is my point right now. As hopeful as I am and as glad that I am that the college football 12-team playoff does excite me as a general college football fan, as a Miami Hurricanes fan, I am internally conflicted, because if this were the 4-team playoff format, Miami's in if they win out and win the ACC. They're in. We're not going to have the discussion we had last year about Florida State where your quarterback is out, and that's the reason why you get relegated. We're also not going to have that because not only do you have a Heisman contending quarterback, you also have one of the lone left undefeated teams when you're talking about the top 10 teams in the nation. Miami would be in a 14 playoff. They're obviously going to make the 12-team playoff, but the route is so much more difficult when you look particularly at where they're projected right now. Of course, this is the first rankings. A lot of things will change between now and mid-December.
Because it's rankings and seeds, by the way. Because like in the rankings, they're in one spot. In the seeds, because of conference championships, a little bit different.
Right. So as things stand right now, let's just say that the rankings stood where they were, and this was the 14 playoff, CCAT. Miami's ranked number 4. Oregon's ranked number 1.
I see that game.
So you would get an Oregon-Miami matchup, and then you would get Ohio State-Georgia. Who's crying at that? Who's crying at that? Who's like, oh, we deserved a shot at this? No, you don't. Texas, you don't deserve a shot. You lost. Penn State, you lost. Tennessee, you lost. That would crown a true champion. Who loses if we did have the 14 playoff this year?
Well, there's more football to be played, and there's going to be more quality wins to be had from teams that are not on the inside to look on the outside.
I understand things are going to change. I'm just looking at what we have, the data points we have up until this point, which is what we would be doing if it was the 14 playoff last year. This time last year, we look at this, and nobody on the outside looking in has any kind of doubt as to, oh, we got cheated. Because also at the end of the day, Texas, you can still go out and win the SEC title game. Penn State, you can still potentially get to the Big Ten championship and win it. You can say the same for Tennessee. You can obviously say the same for undefeated Indiana and BYU. Sorry, you're in the Big 12. So, sorry. I apologize to Cougar Nation.
I understand where you're getting at here because you are feeling two things at once. You are a football fan and you are a Miami fan.
Yes.
And as excited as you were to see those, bombshell, sexy matchups, or we're getting, in theory, Penn State versus Notre Dame at Beaver Stadium with national title hopes on the line. Yes, sign me up for that.
Yeah.
At the same time you're seeing that in front of you, you're seeing I'm a Miami fan, and if we just had last year's rules, we would have a much easier road to a title.
And be honest with me, that's why I'm going to call out to the Miami Hurricanes fans here in South Florida, Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast, and across the nation. If you're listening to us either via the YouTube stream or if you tell your smart speaker to play ESPN 106.3, be honest with me. Would you prefer the 4-team playoff this year, or are you cool with the 12-team format just based on the route that Miami would have to take to make it to the national title game? They are in control of their own destiny no matter the format. It does feel like the Canes, if we just got Cam Ward a year earlier, pretty much the same roster. If we just got Cam Ward a year earlier, if maybe we could have pushed off the 12-team format until a year later, Miami will be primed to just have to win 2 games against tough teams versus 3, which makes it a lot more difficult for them to get to the actual prize. I'm not being preemptively pessimistic. I'm also not trying to play the results here, but that's just my true and honest initial feelings looking at this first projected 12-team playoff. Miami would have to beat the winner of Alabama and Texas. Then they would have to beat Georgia, only to get a shot at the national title game against likely Oregon or Ohio State. So Miami would have to beat Texas, Georgia, and Oregon or Ohio State to win a national title. I am spooked. 888-760-3776. 888-760-3776. What was your initial reaction when you saw the college football 12-team playoff projection last night? And Miami Hurricane fans, are you lockstep with me? Do you feel like, man, we should have pushed this 12-team playoff thing just 1 year back? Because if it was set at 4 teams, Miami will be a lock to make it if they win the ACC, and they would have a much better shot at raising another national championship banner at Hard Rock Stadium. 888-760-3776, 888-760-3776. Hit us up on Theoretically Speaking on the Baptist Health Hotline. Are you experiencing foot and ankle pain and need to see an expert in the field? Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has a team of foot and ankle orthopedic surgeons and specialists who are regarded as leaders in their specialty. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to learn more today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care combines its resources of experienced physicians and leading-edge treatments and technology to provide advanced orthopedic, foot and ankle, joint replacement, spine, and sports medicine care. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho for more information today. Baptist Health Orthopedic Care has offices conveniently located in Palm Beach County through the Florida Keys. Learn more by visiting baptisthealth.net/ortho. 888-760-3776. How do you feel coming off of the very first 12-team playoff rankings that we saw on national television? The results, not so stunning, but the position that Miami is in, disheartening for the boy.
Yeah, I got to imagine there were so many Miami fans that were occupied last night watching the election coverage, because it's the one day of the year that I actually turn on the news channel, and they wake up today.
Well, you do hurricane coverage. Hurricane coverage is your local news day. Election coverage is your national news day.
Yeah, my entertaining news channels days, like one of those, yes. I believe there are a lot like me who tuned into politics for the first time in a long time last night, because it's a pretty big night for America. So this kind of flew under the radar in terms of their prerogatives. Like, their priorities were a little bit different last night. And they woke up today as a Miami Hurricanes fan and are saying, oh, so this historic season, this historic offense, this Heisman contending quarterback, this electric season that my favorite college football team, the Miami Hurricanes, gets rewarded with either Bama or Texas and then Georgia. If you make it through Bama or Texas. That's got to be so disheartening.
It feels like, I don't know if it's, so here's the thing too. Here's the other side of it. Like, Miami could do something similar to what the Chiefs did last year in the playoffs en route to their Super Bowl. And they could be the team to claim to have had the toughest route to a title, not based on the regular season, but based on what they could potentially go through, the path they can go through in this CFB 12-team playoff. If they beat, let's just say hypothetically it's Texas that gets past Alabama. If Miami beats Texas and then Georgia, who would you say would be more of a like statement win against? Would it be Oregon or Ohio State? It feels very equal to me.
I would say Ohio State,
the brand
just
is bigger
because of the historic weight behind the Ohio State name.
Because I was going to say Alabama and Texas. I was going to go Bama, but it just doesn't feel like the same Bama with no Nick Saban.
Right.
If Saban was still there, then you go through Bama, you go through Saban, Kirby Smart, and then Ryan Day's Ohio State. Like that, I mean, Ryan Day kind of takes a little luster out of the Ohio State win, but that would feel like a gauntlet of a journey to a national title. So yes, the elation that would come after a run like that would be so much greater. Just like with the Chiefs. The Dolphins were an easy out at home, but then you go at Buffalo, at Baltimore, and against the best roster in football in the Niners and win all 3 of those games as the Dogs. Like, that route is going to be hard to match going forward in the NFL. The Canes could have that same claim to fame, but it's so difficult.